To find a new player in his system that's going to be able to step forward and take those big shots when the games are on the line. And tonight would be a good night maybe to experiment a little bit with some of his new players.
And going up against a brand new head coach on the other side in Nate Connolly for the Spartans, a Fort Wayne native making the trip here. A couple of campuses separated by only about 40 miles. It's Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Manchester. And the opening tip is coming up next.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors meet.
At Diamond Residential Mortgage, we understand the importance of keeping pace with technology, and we offer a completely digital loan process to our customers who choose to take advantage of that option. But we also understand the magnitude of a home purchase, and one of our loan officers will work with you every step of the loan process to make sure all your questions are answered and the right type of loan is tailored to fit your needs. See Diamond Residential Mortgage.
The lights are off inside of the Coliseum as the Mastodons are set to be introduced at home for the first time this season. Now it's time for us to give you tonight's starting lineups. They're brought to you by Glenbrook Dodge. And Jeff, for Manchester, it's a team that only returns a total of 6 guys with playing experience, and you figured that Nate Carbaugh from Northside High School was going to be one of them, but he's actually out injured tonight, so it'll be a different look for Manchester.
It'll be kind of a let's see who can get what done tonight for Manchester. New coach, new players, a lot of experimentation going on for Manchester tonight.
And meanwhile, for Purdue, Fort Wayne, like we touched about off the top, some guys in new roles this year. Jared Godfrey, who last year as a freshman came off the bench, now thrust in the starting point guard role. Marcus DeBerry, who most of last season came off the bench, he's back in the starting lineup in the backcourt, joined by Brian Patrick, who's able to play this year. He had to sit out last year, transferring in from Kansas State, where he was part of a Wildcats team that had a run to the Elite Eight. Matt Holba, the leading returning scorer, and down low, Dylan Carl, now a redshirt junior.
Dylan Carl, Matt Holba, they got to step up. They're the 2 returners with the most experience, so Coach Kaufman's going to put a lot of stock in those 2 guys. But 2 guys that I really like, Brian Patrick, who you said sat out last year. He's got a lot of experience. He's a scorer. And the kid that I'm really excited to watch play is Jared Godfrey, who's going to be running the point. Came off a 24-point night at Las Vegas here Tuesday night. Let's see what he can do to add to his game. I know Coach Kaufman wants to get him more involved in moving the ball, get him a few more assists, and let's see if he can do that for the Mastodons tonight.
Mastodons played out in Las Vegas on Tuesday night. Pretty quick turnaround, traveling halfway across the country. Meanwhile, this is the opener for Manchester. Technically, it's an exhibition for them, and it's game number 1 for Nate Connolly. He's a Fort Wayne native. Matter of fact, he graduated from Bishop Dwenger High School in 2006. Prior to that, spent some time, 3 years at Snyder High School. He was teammates and friends with Mastodon's assistant coach, Ryan Sims, and Conley's counterpart, John Kaufman, now into season number 6 as the head man here. So far, 96-68, already the winningest coach in Purdue Fort Wayne's Division I history.
I think it's a big season for Coach Kaufman. Like we said in the pregame, he doesn't have that go-to guy yet that he's had in the past. Last year, Conchard. The year before that, Bryson Scott, Max Landis. So let's see who he can drum up, who's going to take that big shot when the games are on the line this year.
We are underway. Tonight's officials, Colin Totson, Bobby Daw, and Todd Van Sossen. 10th all-time meeting between Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Manchester. They first met all the way back in 1978. Neither was Division I at the time. Manchester won the first 3 games in the series there back in the late 70s, early 80s, and the Mastodons have won 6 in a row since. including last season. Manchester forces the turnover. It's C.J. Hampton with the steal, and he scores.
C.J. Hampton from Manchester, one of their most touted players coming into this season, gets the Manchester team off to a good start.
Hampton last year averaged 9 points and 6 rebounds a game. Brian Patrick connects.
Right there, that's Brian Patrick's game. Jump shooter from the perimeter. He likes that wing area most of all.
Patrick was held to only 8 points at UNLV. Actually fouled out of the game in only 11 minutes of action. Better start for him here this evening.
You're going to see Purdue Fort Wayne in their traditional. They come out man-to-man usually. A lot of ball pressure. Trying to force Manchester into some turnovers and quick shots.
Hampton was off the mark. Now it's Godfrey in attack mode. Count it, and a foul.
Right there, that's part of the game that Jared Godfrey that I really like. He's multidimensional. He can get the ball to the basket. He got the hit there, and he's able to finish. Or he can stay on the perimeter and shoot the three-point shot as well.
A versatile sophomore from Atlanta. And, Jeff, as you touched upon, John Kaufman doesn't expect any one player to step in and replace a guy like John Conchar or Kaysen Harrell. But Godfrey really put on a heck of a show Tuesday night. Career high 24 points. He did it efficiently, 10 of 17 from the floor. And how about this? No turnovers as the point guard.
That's a huge plus for the Mastodons right there. You really don't know what you're going to get, especially when you have a new point guard out on the floor for you.
Matt Holba, an open look.
We saw a lot of that last year out of Matt, that three-point shot. He's not bashful to take it. He had his feet set. He was ready to shoot, wide open for the nice three-point shot.
He was the team's leading three-point shooter last year, shot it at a 43% clip. Here's Matthew Westman from downtown. By the way, one thing to keep an eye on, when you look out on the floor, you see there are basically 4 arcs. The college basketball on the men's side three-point line in Division I has moved back this year. Said it's kind of interesting for Manchester at the Division III level. That change doesn't go into effect until next year. So you have the high school line as the white interior one. Then there's the gold one. That's the women's three-point line. And still the Division III men's line. Then there's the white stripe. That's currently the college basketball one, and this floor is shared by the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, the Pacers NBA G League affiliate. So the outside Navy one is NBA territory. Meanwhile, inside the paint, there's Marcus D. Berry. Westman, he's a sniper. Too strong, but Godfrey has the board.
You can see right there, Manchester's last 3 possessions all came with three-point shots, and that's one of the things the new coach here at Manchester wants to see, an up-tempo game and a lot of three-pointers taken.
Yeah, and Coach Conley told these guys, don't be shy about letting it fly here tonight. He had some friends advise him, hey, you might want to go to a burn offense if you are looking to be competitive against a bigger, stronger, faster opponent. But Coach Conley says he wants his guys really just to simulate what they'll be running in their regular season, and for that matter, what they've done so far in practice. Cortez Buckner kicks for Hampton. The mid-range doesn't go, and Godfrey corrals another rebound.
Corners!
That's what I like about this team, John, is that so many of these players out there on the floor right now, they're all multi-position players. They can bring the ball up the floor. Every one of them can hit the boards and bring it on the break as well. And believe it or not, all 5 guys on the court right now for the Mastodons, they can step out and shoot the three. As we've seen Dylan Carl be very proficient at the three-point line as well.
Absolutely. Another look at the foul that Godfrey drew. Point of emphasis for the Mastodons in this game, according to Coach Kaufman, is to attack the basket more. The Mastodons, they call them paint touch shots. Whenever the ball gets at least into the paint, even if it winds up being kicked out for a three like that one for Patrick that doesn't go.
That just creates better ball movement. Everybody gets a touch of the ball. It makes it a little more difficult for the defenders.
D. Berry with the D and the dunk.
That's a great anticipation on the weak side that time by Marcus. Stepped in the passing lane and got the easy dunk on the other end.
Jared Andis. Andis in his first game in a Manchester uniform, transferred in from Thomas More College. He's a junior from Economy, Indiana.
Let's sit here and watch the half-court offense of the Mastodons. Watch the ball movement. Moved it from side to side and got the open shot from the wing, but it didn't fall that time.
Keaton Hall, short, and Dylan Carl brings it down. Next whistle will bring us to our first media timeout, and there it is. There's a break in the action a little bit more than 5 minutes in. Purdue Fort Wayne leads Manchester by 3.
We all have a car we drive in our dreams, like a car you take on the open road. A car that takes you on an adventure. Or maybe it's a car the whole family can take. At Ford Financial Credit Union, we can make your dreams come true. We've got great low rates on auto loans and can approve you in a matter of minutes. Stop by your local branch or fortfinancialcu.org today. Fort Financial. It's time to live your dreams.
Purdue Fort Wayne coming off of 6 consecutive winning seasons, and primarily during this stretch we've seen some of the best players in program history, and 2 of them just graduated last spring in John Conchar, now under a 2-way contract with the Memphis Grizzlies, and Kaysen Harrell. Those guys finishing top 6 in program history. And there's actually Kaysen in the crowd here this evening. He was in training camp with the Mad Ants, wound up being one of the last guys cut from the team as their season officially starts tomorrow. But this program has really created a family atmosphere, and so Kaysen wanted to be here tonight to support his guys. He's had a great attitude about his experience.
Came from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a long way from home. He's still here in Fort Wayne. Maybe someday he'll call this his home.
Time will tell. Certainly a pro career still in store for Kaysen, whether it's in the G League or elsewhere.
I heard a few rumors tonight around the arena that he might try overseas now since he got cut from the Mad Ants, and so we'll have to sit back and wait. Surely there's some place that he can play overseas.
Really wound up being a tough break there for Kaysen, and the Mad Ants and the Pacers really liked what he brought to the table. Just so happens that the Mad Ants are going to wind up with probably their deepest roster ever. Number of guys with NBA experience. And by the way, on that note, congratulations to a Fort Wayne native and a former Mastodons rival in DJ McCall, a Concordia alum who did make the team.
You saw DJ several times here in the Coliseum against the Mastodons over the years.
And Kaysen and company got the best of them last year.
Yes.
Welcome to the Coliseum, Demir Black through contact. The junior college transfer point guard with a tough bucket. And now aboard for Cam Benford.
Right there you see Demir coming in. He's running the point a little bit, so therefore that moves Jared off the ball a little bit. Maybe get a few more touches. But what to watch from Demir, he's strong, he's quick and powerful, and he's going to be able to get that ball in the lane and look for some kickouts to the wing players.
Yeah, the Dons coaches have said defensively he's already their best on-ball defender, and he can help run the offense too. He feeds Benford, unable to finish. On the second effort, no. Cam's got a relentless motor, but that one is out off of him.
The thing I like about Demir is he stays so low. He stays in a stance, and he can guard the ball, stay in front of the ball. That's a huge key for a guard out on the perimeters, to stay in front of the ball.
And right there, the Mastodons guarding against a ball screen. Coming off the UNLV loss, Coach Kaufman felt like his team could have done a better job of communicating in those ball screen situations. Jared Godfrey, no good off the window, but it comes back to him. Deontay Billups. Second effort, still no good. Billups in his home debut, a freshman from Moline, Illinois. And there's Jared Andis with his second triple in the opening 7 minutes.
You can see so far the Mastodons are doing what Coach Kaufman wanted. He wanted that ball to get into the paint. They're getting some good looks at the basket, but just not able to finish right now.
Matt Holba putting it on the deck, and he draws the foul.
That was a good, strong move. He ripped that ball through there. He was able to beat his man and got grabbed from behind there.
Holba certainly known as a shooter, but if you talk to the Purdue Fort Wayne coaches, they're quick to tell you that even if he may, in Coach Kaufman's words, look a little bit awkward at times on the attack, he has that part of his game too. He's not simply a spot-up shooter. Tion Rollins, that's good. A redshirt freshman from Tallahassee, Florida.
That was all set up by Demir Black, taking the ball hard to the paint. He came to a good jump stop and was able to kick it back to the corner for the open jump shot.
Andis probes, fading, rattles out. Here comes Black on the attack.
Right there, that showed the strength there. Getting to the basket, able to take a little bit of a bump and finish it. Good move by Demir.
That's a travel against Andis.
That there was caused by Cameron Bedford coming over from the weak side, double teaming that ball down on the baseline, and got the Manchester player in trouble there and traveled.
Mastodons looking to create some separation. They're up by 7.
We all have a car we drive in our dreams, like a car you take on the open road. A car that takes you on an adventure. Or maybe it's a car the whole family can take. At Ford Financial Credit Union, we can make your dreams come true. We've got great low rates on auto loans and can approve you in a matter of minutes. Stop by your local branch or fortfinancialcu.org today. Fort Financial. It's time to live your dreams.
Manchester making the visit here to Fort Wayne. These two campuses only about 40 minutes apart. Spartans, Division III school in North Manchester, about 1,500 students. And among their alums, they can claim Mike Doc Emmerich, the voice of the NHL on NBC. And Jeff, it was while Doc was a student at Manchester that wrote a letter to Bob Chase, the longtime legendary voice of the Fort Wayne Comets, asking Mr. Chase if he could have a chance to shadow him here radio ringside in the Coliseum. And Bob Chase, being the kind gentleman that he is, he welcomed Doc, and next thing you know, he became a teacher and his apprentice.
Now he's one of the biggest names in the NHL broadcast booth. Kind of interesting here, John, with 9 minutes only played here. Coach Kaufman's gone to his bench. 9 players already have seen minutes so far here in the first half.
Yeah, the Macedons went 9 deep early at UNLV as well. Tion Rollins fouled on the deck. Foul goes against Matthew Westman. And by the way, we should point out that the Macedons are not quite at full strength here tonight. Freshman guard Chase Johnston out of Florida, a tremendous three-point shooter, not available so far through these first 2 games. Father going through some health issues, and so our thoughts and prayers are with Chase and his family right now.
He's going to be an exciting player for the Mastodons when he gets back here. You want to see this guy really shoot the ball from the perimeter. You're going to really like what you see in Chase Johnson.
Brian Patrick right there, another exciting guy out of Florida with the baseline drive and flush. It's quite a Florida contingent, for that matter, just a Southeastern contingent on this Macedon squad, and it's good to see these guys have not been adversely affected by today's weather with it feels like around 30.
About 7 players on the roster from the South, from Tennessee all the way down to Florida.
A result of Coach Kaufman's past connections as a guy who grew up in Atlanta and then spent a long time coaching in Florida at Stetson. There was C.J. Hampton with the bucket.
Good swing, good swing, good swing.
Black's pass is intercepted. Abdul Ogunaki. Hampton loses control.
Come on, BJ, get corner.
Rollins to Patrick.
Good.
How about that pass right there from Black to Carl, who's called for an offensive foul. Talk about threading the needle, though.
Demir a little out of control after he let go of the pass, but there was that strength and quickness, able to get in the lane. He beat his man, but ran into the Manchester player and picked up the charge. But nice pass there to Dillon. Dillon's got to be ready for those quick little pass dump-offs on the penetration from the guards.
There's a travel on Hampton. Turnovers mounting for Manchester. Hey, all things considered right now, if you're a Spartans fan, certainly got to be proud of the effort put in by head coach Nate Conley. And there, a look at Ryan Strom, first-year assistant. Rollins in the corner again, and good again.
That's one of the things the Macedons have been noted for over the last few years is that three-point score. And they're off to a good start here tonight shooting the ball.
And there's an answer for Ogunaki stepping outside. Rollins again from distance. Not this time, but an offensive board for Godfrey, who has it knocked away. Jalen Owens, a sophomore out of Terre Haute. Carl strips it. It comes out to Hall. A brick. And another board for Rollins. Carl puts it in. And it's for D. Berry.
Good job by Dillon. Sprinting the court from end line to end line and beat his man down the court and was able to get the good pass back for the easy basket. That's what I like to see, the big man sprinting down the middle of the court.
Foul against Ogunaki, and that puts Purdue Fort Wayne into the 1-1 bonus.
Right there goes the versatility of the Mastodons right there. We have a substitution. Matt Holba goes in, he's 6'7", but he replaces Tion Rollins at 6'2". So right there's good versatility that the Mastodons, they can float from position to position and not lose a beat. Right there on the replay, that's good penetration there by Tion getting into the lane again.
And they're just simply an example with Carl at 6'11". He's got about 5 inches on anyone else on the floor tonight for Manchester.
Yeah, Dylan should have his way around the rim most of the evening.
It's a Manchester team that a year ago went 9-16. They finished tied for 8th in their conference, the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, the HCAC, that features schools from Indiana as well as Ohio and Kentucky. Transylvania is the preseason pick this season.
Yeah, right now for the Mastodons, we got our starting 5 back on the floor here. Let's see if they can stretch this lead out with their starters.
Andis in the corner. Carl skies for the carom. Godfrey pushes. DeBerry tees it up. Matthew Westman in traffic. DeBerry with the steal.
DeBerry much more confident this year coming into the game than he was a year ago. It took him several games to get acclimated to Coach Kaufman's system, but you can look at him this year. He's a lot stronger. He's built his body up a little bit. He's going to be, I think, a huge plus for him this year.
Yeah, it's a great point in terms of his physical transformation. A little bit on the gangly side last year. He has really filled out, went hard in the weight room over the summer. And he mixed that in while working a summer job at Parkview Fields for the Tin Caps. But really dedicated to improving here in his final season. His second as a Mastodon after he began his collegiate career at Northern Arizona. Godfrey good on the first, has another. Talk about another guy now really making that leap. We've touched upon how Godfrey last year as a freshman primarily was coming off of the bench and more of a secondary role. Now you can tell he's just a more assertive player, not only with the way that he's attacking the basket, but just vocally a leader on this team, even though he's still just a sophomore. And the defense forces a 10-second violation.
I really like his demeanor on the court. He's smooth. He doesn't look like he's, going 100 miles an hour, but he is. He's one of those players that just comes so natural to him. And, like you said, he came off the bench last year. He led the team in scoring 3 of those games. So he can score the ball.
Mastodons with multiple guys scoring the ball here tonight, including Brian Patrick, the transfer from Kansas State, and his first home game in Fort Wayne, helping the Mastodons up by 13.
This little pumpkin's BB. She's my baby, and that's why I'm here.
All right, looking for something pooch-friendly?
Yes, I want Pumpkin here to feel safe and snuggly when I want to feel rugged.
Well, we got plenty of Jeeps, Durangos, plenty of room for the dog in the back.
How many will fit comfortably?
7 or 8 adults.
How many dogs?
Oh, 11, 12.
Shotgun, BB.
13.
Glenbrook Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. We've been fetching deals since 1979.
Drive a Scat Pack Dodge Charger over $10,000 off MSRP with Dodge Power Dollars at Glenbrook Dodge.
Oh, she got a little too excited.
I'll get a towel.
My philosophy has always been, what would I do if this was my mother?
You have the blessing from God to know that you're serving in a capacity that you truly love. This isn't a job to me.
They're coming to us at their most vulnerable. They're coming to us at a time when they're dealing with something totally unexpected.
And when you see people go through that every day, it kind of gives you motivation to be your best.
We have some of the best clinical staff that I have ever worked with in my 20-some years of healthcare.
Purdue Fort Wayne leads Manchester by 13 here in the Mastodons home opener, going against a Spartans team that was once led by an Indiana legend, Steve Alford.
Got his start in coaching there at Manchester. I can remember when he got that job. I had a friend that played for Manchester, and Coach Alford, he didn't like his part-time job, and he says, you get rid of the job or quit the team. And he cleaned house when he came to Manchester, and it worked for him. And he had a few very, very successful seasons there. Went to the national championship game in Division III.
That was back in 1995. Team was undefeated up until that game. They ran into a Wisconsin Platteville team, though, that was coached by Bo Ryan, who also knows a thing or two about leading a quality squad. Out of the timeout, Jared Godfrey draws a foul back at the line. Friendly roll here at home. Godfrey now with 8, 3 for 4 at the line.
Think a little bit about Steve Alford. He's been traveling around the country at several different stops, now at his new home in Nevada.
Yeah, Macedon saw him last year when he was still at UCLA. That's where Purdue Fort Wayne opened up a year ago. Don's on a run right now. They've outscored Manchester 8-0 over the last 2 minutes and change, until Jared Andis changes that.
Right
His
there,
third trifecta.
That's a dangerous pass right there for the defense. That skip pass over to the open player in the corner. Macedon's got to make sure they close out hard on that skip pass to the weak side.
Deontay Billups, the freshman from Moline, Illinois, he's springy. He was attacking right there. And the foul called against C.J. Hampton. And now to add insult to injury or injury to insult, Hampton is down.
He does have that one knee taped up on his left side, and looks like he might have came down and twisted that a little bit right there.
Well, Hampton, the only player on this Manchester team who made the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference's preseason player to watch list.
Being helped off the floor with the Manchester trainers. They're limping quite a bit there. I don't know if he'll be back or not. We'll see.
A junior out of Griffith, Indiana, at Griffith High School a few years ago, led his team to regionals in the state tournament. Guy that they call a big teddy bear. Kind of an undersized 4 at 6'3", but really strong. Hope that he can recover. Meanwhile, it is Billups who's at the line. Deontay looking for his first points tonight. And he's made his first free throw attempt as a collegiate athlete.
That's one thing Coach Kaufman, I'm sure, wants to see improvement on. Coming out of that first game, they only shot 69% here tonight so far, well over 80%.
Macedon's now collectively 8 for 9 at the line.
Here's a part of their game that kind of a new wrinkle for the Macedons is that 2-2-1 press, which I saw a couple times in their scrimmages that I really liked. It's aggressive, looking for that turnover. That time right there, they didn't get back quite quick enough and left that open 3.
And Andis making them pay. Holba flips it up, no. A denial from Oganaki, and the loose ball is off the team in white.
Right there, Matt Holba, he's got to be strong enough right there. He's got to be able to finish that. He's got to take that contact. He's got to keep his body under control and be able to finish.
Andis has a game-high 12 points right now for Manchester. Godfrey, the high man for the Dons, with 9. Cortez Buckner has it taken away. 3-on-2. Godfrey for 3. Short. And it's off Benford.
Little indecisiveness right there on the break that time. Matt Holba didn't really know if he should take it all the way to the basket. Kicked it out to Jared. He wasn't sure if he should take that 3 and came up a little short.
One of those situations where in most years past it was either Conchar or Harrell leading a break like that.
Just a new role for different players. They got to get adjusted to that, and they got to be able to produce.
Inbound is deflected, but a finish down low for Des Moines Whitney. Timeout, Purdue Fort Wayne. 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here.
Coach Kaufman not happy with that out-of-bounds play. Cam Bedford, he got a little bit lost that time. He got picked off and no communication underneath the basket on the screens that time. That's one thing Coach Coffin stressed coming out of the Las Vegas game was the communication on defense, and right there was a huge breakdown.
So give credit to Manchester here for sticking around in this first half, and we saw this last year too, where it was a tight one for the first half before Purdue Fort Wayne rolled in the second half and wound up winning 111-65. And I know Coach Coffin doesn't want excuses to be made for his team, but consider this, their schedule played out at UNLV on Tuesday night. That was a game that tipped off at 10 o'clock Fort Wayne time. I don't know about you, but I think I fell asleep with a few minutes yet to go in that one. And then yesterday morning, they had a wake-up call in the neighborhood of 5 a.m. Las Vegas time. It may have been even earlier than that because they had an early flight from Vegas to Detroit, then bus from Detroit to Purdue Fort Wayne's campus. Guys had the afternoon to get to class, catch up on work, or take a nap, and then they had a team meeting last night at 9 o'clock, and now here they go, a game tonight.
But I like that schedule. It keeps the kids busy. It keeps their minds focused. I'm sure the Las Vegas game didn't turn out exactly the way they wanted, but get rid of the negativity and let's build something positive here tonight quickly. And that can be used as a building block. And even take the positive things from the Las Vegas game and build upon them here tonight. But I do like that quick turnaround. It gets that taste out of their mouth. It keeps them focused and hungry to avenge that loss.
Yeah, and not to mention, while it is a difficult schedule, it helps prepare them for what they still have to face this year in the Summit League. We'll talk later about how the Dons will be in a new conference next season, but still one more year to go in the Summit League where the travel is arduous to say the least. Billups draws a foul. Keaton Hall tried to take the charge, but instead the senior is called for a blocking foul.
Got himself caught inside that charge circle that time. Oh, he's outside of that charge circle. That's pretty questionable right there. He's pretty well set, I thought.
That's a tough break for Hall, who's on the roster at 5'11", trying to compete with the 6'4" Billups.
I know Coach Kaufman's really high on Billups this year. Talking to him last week about him, he says he's really got some athletic ability and expects big things from him. One of Coach Kaufman's favorite comments, he's got to figure it out yet.
Billups at 8 points and a couple rebounds, and the opener out in Vegas.
Looks like he's catching on real quick here tonight. Nice form there from the free throw line.
He's got 4 points now at the line tonight. Foul on the floor against Demir Black.
I don't think Demir liked coming out of the game right there. Kind of looked the other way when he got over to the bench.
Well, as you touched upon, the Mastodons have plenty of depth right now.
That's
so
right.
It's Tion Rollins now at the controls. Stripped away from Billups. Jamin Sullivan fouled before the shot. The basket does not count. In the NBA, you probably get continuation there, but not here.
Right there, he needed to sprint back there on defense and get in position and take a charge. He kind of let up there at the free throw line where he needs to get all the way down to the baseline and get squared up.
Long two for Ogunaki, short.
Right there.
Dylan Carl steps outside. That one short as well.
See that time right there. Jared got the defensive rebound. He was able to take it the length of the court. Dylan saw that. He popped back out to the top of the key where Jared kicked it back out for the open shot. But Dylan was just a little bit short.
Billups on the floor. Now it's Rollins. Nice bounce pass.
Whoa.
D. Berry, and one.
Excellent pass that time by Tion. Getting it in there to DeBerry. Nice push with the ball. Pushed the ball up the floor. Made the defense commit. Nice bounce pass.
The dime to D. Berry. Breaking the action with 4:15 to go in the first half, and the Mastodons lead the Spartans by 13.
Dreaming of getting cash back in your pocket with every purchase you make? With a Visa Rewards credit card from Fort Financial, you can earn 1% back on everything you buy. And a low introductory rate of just 3.9% APR, with no annual fees or balance transfer fees, so you can consolidate debt. You even get online access to view transactions or pay bills. Stop by your local branch or fortfinancialcu.org today. Fort Financial. It's time to live your dreams.
Growing up in the Midwest, I learned a lot from my dad, like how to fix a bike and balance a budget. And when it comes to money, Dad always said, you need a partner you can trust. I want to teach my kids the same thing. That's why we're members of Midwest America. They're a local credit union with honest personal service and have all the tools my family needs, like checking accounts, mortgages and auto loans, and mobile banking to manage it all.
Midwest America Federal Credit Union, a local partner you can trust.
Purdue Fort Wayne men's basketball opening night at the Coliseum. The Dons lead Manchester by 13. Let's check in on what's going on elsewhere around campus. Women's volleyball having themselves a heck of a season so far, 9-3 in Summit League games. They'll be at the Gates Sports Center on campus tomorrow night. Earlier today at Gates, the women's basketball team improved to 2-0 on the season. They defeated a future conference opponent in UIC, Illinois, Chicago, 61-50. That was a game that tipped at 11 o'clock this morning. They had more than 1,000 school kids there for their annual day of activities for the youngsters. By the way, looking ahead to the weekend, men's soccer, they'll have their senior night, their regular season finale, and cross country still with one more big meet to go too.
That's good to see the women's program off to a good start, 2-0. I know in the last couple of years they've struggled, so let's hope that they can keep that momentum going.
Marcus D. Berry finished the free throw in the three-point play. Now a foul called against Brian Patrick. A 2 free throws for Jalman Sullivan, a junior from Illinois.
4 minutes left in the half. This is the first trip to the free throw line for Manchester.
There's the reach in on Patrick. Sullivan, a biology major, guy who was all-state in high school in Illinois. Last year averaged 7 points and 2 rebounds a game off the bench. He's got a couple points right there. D. Berry.
Right there's a lot of confidence right there. And Marcus taking that ball to the basket, which we did not see a year ago.
Yeah, more of an outside shooter. Not settling tonight. Foul on the floor issued against Matthew Westman, trying to slow down Jared Godfrey. Both Godfrey and DeBerry now with 9 points. Pretty balanced attack for the Mastodons. John Kaufman likes it. Purdue Fort Wayne at this point in the double bonus.
So far, 8 players have scored for the Mastodons here tonight. Led by Jared here at the free throw line. They were short on that first one.
The only guy for the Mastodons who's played but hasn't scored is Cameron Benford, but he's a guy who really embraces his role, doing more of the dirty work, not necessarily even looking to score.
I think they're going to need Cameron come mid-season when they get in the Summit League. He's a bigger body. He needs to get in there and move some people around and rebound. And like you said, do the dirty work. Get some offensive rebounds and putbacks.
He did have his career high in scoring against Manchester here last year with 11. And there's number 11, Dylan Carl, with the putback.
Nice little step around that time in the free throw lane.
Ogunaki misses and then has it deflected. Godfrey finds Patrick. Holba, a kick out. Patrick off the back cut. Doesn't go. Andis tees it up and buries another. Jared Andis with 15 in the first half on 5 threes.
Well, he can catch and shoot it. He's got a nice quick release. He gets his feet set and he lets it go.
Offensive rebound for Carl, and Holba scores. Catch and shoot. That wasn't there for Owens. Andis, why not? Well, he checked.
But here, that's what I like right there. Marcus got that rebound. He's not afraid to bring the ball up himself.
Godfrey in the corner.
Able to get in the lane and have that kick out. Exactly what Coach Kaufman's looking for.
Hey, let's get our pod organized.
Now right there, right now for the Mastodons, there's 4 players out there. They can get the defensive rebound, and they can bring it on the break immediately. Dylan, he's going to get the rebound. He's going to kick it out to the wing and get the break going himself as well.
Purdue Fort Wayne plus 10 on the glass so far tonight. 23-13 advantage. No good for Owens. D-Berry checks his feet, in and out.
A good push that time by Jared. Good kick out.
Carl up ahead. D-Berry in turbo mode. Sticks with it, but commits a foul.
Marcus, that time, you just got to go in there and power dunk that and get it over with right away. Take it, be aggressive, dunk it, get back on defense.
All right, Marcus, here we go. Come on now. Hey, it was good job, right? Good job, right? Next play, let's go.
It's only 6 fouls against Purdue Fort Wayne, so Manchester still not in the bonus with 1:07 to go until the break. Here's an offensive foul. D-Berry on the other end. So you make up for a miss.
Ogunagi right there kind of lowered his shoulder, picked up the charge. Turnover.
Brian Patrick. Owens fell out of bounds with it.
Hey, Dylan, I want. Hey, Dylan, right underneath the hole. We got Dylan on there. Got Dylan.
Matt Holba from downtown.
Good shot by Matt. Feet set. He was waiting, hands ready. Lined it up and knocked it down.
Holba last year, one of the top 3-point shooters in all the Summit League. Last year averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds a game, and the Dons expecting even more from him this year. Hardly a difference between the shot clock and the game clock. The fadeaway, it's an air ball. Carl in desperation chucks it down the floor, and that does it for the first 20 minutes at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Purdue Fort Wayne 50, Manchester 32. Spartans played hard in that first half, but the Mastodons finally creating some separation there towards the end.
Both sides of the benches here for Manchester. I like the way they're playing the game. Coach Conley, he's not going to back off. He had a specific way he wanted to play this game, and that's what they're doing. He didn't come in here and change his game plan just because they're playing Purdue Fort Wayne. On the other end, Purdue Fort Wayne doing exactly what Coach Coughlin wants. Ball moving offensively, get into the paint, whether it's penetration, pass, kick out for the open shots. Doing a great job shooting from ball from the three-point, over 40%, 52% for the game. So offensively, great job. Defensively, you're seeing good ball pressure. You're getting good weak side help. You're seeing a lot of three-pointers being shot by Manchester, so it's important that Purdue Fort Wayne continues good closeouts, hard closeouts, especially on the skip passes.
Coming up on our halftime report presented by the Lutheran Health Network, we'll have highlights, stats, and plenty more. Don't go anywhere.
This is a place where compassion lives. Strength does too. Experience, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to caring for hearts of all ages. This is Lutheran Heart Center, where an elite team of professionals comes together to work as one. From preventive screenings to complex procedures, advanced and comprehensive heart care lives here.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors meet.
Halftime at the Coliseum, where Purdue Fort Wayne leads Manchester by 18. As we've talked about so far here tonight, the start of a new era in some ways for Purdue Fort Wayne after graduating John Conchar and Kason Harrell from last year's team. Both guys now playing professionally, and John Conchar, the first player in program history to sign an NBA contract moments after the NBA draft wrapped up this past summer. Conchar was the first guy not drafted to sign a contract, a two-way deal with the Memphis Grizzlies, which wound up being a better situation for him than being drafted by the Golden State Warriors, which was an option for him as well. And Conchar, the all-time leading scorer in program history with more than 2,000 points, also the all-time leading rebounder in program history. He wound up as the greatest player in program history, but he'll be remembered not only for the stats that he put up, but for the kind of person that he is, too. And right now, we take a look at the impact of John Conchar on this Purdue Fort Wayne program.
In the middle for the Mastodons, a 6'6" senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 54, Pat Murphy.
I finished in 1993. I sound like a grandpa now. A long, long time ago. Back then, we were Division II, but we won our conference I think it's great basketball. I think it's one of the most underrated kind of hidden gems of Fort Wayne. Quality basketball, easy to get tickets, easy to get great tickets. The relationship between John Contra and my son started was he went to a basketball camp several years ago, and John, a guy who's now in the NBA, was his coach. Archer was sick and missed a game, which was rare. And so I knew Archer would be upset that he didn't have John's autograph, even though he had 20 of them. I brought up a schedule and told John that, hey, Archer was sick, and can you sign this for Archer? Instead of just signing his name, John put "to my best friend Archer." Archer was ecstatic. I mean, thought it was the coolest thing that, John called him his best friend, and then created the shirt that said, "John Contra is my best friend." And then on senior night, he gave John a shirt that he created as well. It said, "Archer Murphy is my best friend." And then John wore it. We've really enjoyed going to the games, and it's only getting better. With the team getting better every year, they play a fun brand of basketball, a lot of threes, a lot of offense. You can get good seats. If you look at the last maybe 5 years, it seems like we've always had a player go pro, whether it's in Europe or overseas or in the G League, or now with Contra making perhaps the leap to the NBA. It's really good basketball. I think this year the team is going to be very competitive. We've got some good freshmen coming in, some good upperclassmen, some folks that are sitting out that are top-notch players. And I think it's going to be another great year. And eventually we're going to get to the NCAA tournament, whether it's this year or several years down the road. And I and my family will definitely be there. I'm Pat Murphy. I'm from the class of 1993, proud Mastodon alumni, and it's great to be a Don.
I love coaching college basketball in the state of Indiana. These guys have what they have right now because of the generations before them. We had great coaches before me, and we've had really, really good players, and I'll allude to that in my talk today. But I'm just excited about the future. I'm excited about the next generation. We've obviously lost some really, really talented players, with last year losing Case and Harrell and John Conchar. But man, I couldn't be more excited about these guys we have coming back, and the culture that those predecessors have established to help these guys grow.
We have a lot of players that, like Jared Godfrey, Brian Patrick, who sat out last year, transferred from Kansas State. They're very good, and people are ready to fill those roles. We have a lot of skill, so we're just trying to fill those roles. Obviously, John and Kaysen leaving is a big part of our team last year and the past 4 years, so it's going to be hard to fill, but I think we can do it. We're a team that plays very hard every day. We know what we got to do. Like, we found our purpose. Coach has been talking big on that, but we're looking really good. Newcomers are starting to get up to speed, so it's looking really good.
I feel like these first few weeks we've been making strides, getting better as a team, meshing with each other. So I feel like it's been pretty positive for us. Continue to getting better every day. Rome wasn't built in a day, so I know this is going to be a nice process for myself, but just continue to be a better version of myself every day.
We were in passing lanes. We came out with extreme energy. Our chemistry and communication on the defensive end was at its finest in that first half. I think we were able to take away a lot of their strengths. That's what we talked about in scouting this opponent, is making sure that we locked in on the defensive end and took away their major strengths. Michelle came in with a lot of confidence. I think she really built momentum from that last performance for her and really stepped up and shot the three really well. Anytime you come up against a Horizon League opponent, you want to make sure that you show your best, because that's just a preview of what we're going into next year. So to get a win today against a Horizon League opponent is big, especially giving us a confidence boost going into next year.
Overall, I was happy with it. I thought we got a little lackadaisical in that third set, but in general, we've been really focusing on digging more quality digs where our setters can run offense and transition, and I thought that was good. Our pins were having a good day, so we want to run our middles more, but when our pins are really producing, I guess, why break it if it's not, when I fix it, it's not broken. Well, we just talked about like you need to put yourselves in your opponent's shoes and respect your opponent, and understand that this team that we just played is fighting for that 6th playoff spot. And if we give them an inch, if we relax, like they're going to run through the door there because they need to. So we challenge them in that way. Is like, okay, going into this 4th set, let's tighten things back up and respect what they're trying to do by playing hard and not assuming they're just going to lay down.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and round.
At Diamond Residential Mortgage, we understand the importance of keeping pace with technology, and we offer a completely digital loan process to our customers who choose to take advantage of that option. But we also understand the magnitude of a home purchase, and one of our loan officers will work with you every step of the loan process to make sure all your questions are answered and the right type of loan is tailored to fit your needs. See Diamond Residential Mortgage.
This little pumpkin's BB. She's my baby, and that's why I'm here. All right, looking for something pooch-friendly? Yes, I want Pumpkin here to feel safe and snuggly when I want to feel rugged. Well, we got plenty of Jeeps, Durangos, plenty of room for the dog in the back. How many will fit comfortably? 7 or 8 adults. How many dogs? Oh, 11, 12. Shotgun, BB. 13.
Glenbrook Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. We've been fetching deals since 1979.
Drive a Scat Pack Dodge Charger over $10,000 off MSRP with Dodge Power Dollars at Glenbrook Dodge.
Oh, she got a little too excited. I'll get a towel.
My philosophy has always been, what would I do if this was my mother?
You have the blessing from God to know that you're serving in a capacity that you truly love. This isn't a job to me.
They're coming to us at their most vulnerable. They're coming to us at a time when they're dealing with something totally unexpected.
And when you see people go through that every day, it kind of gives you motivation to be your best.
We have some of the best clinical staff that I have ever worked with in my 20-some years of healthcare.
With Jeff Parrish, I'm John Nolan. Thanks for spending part of your Thursday night with us, whether that's on Comcast Network 81 or streaming on YouTube. Glad to have all of our broadcasts this season for Purdue Fort Wayne, whether here at the Coliseum or across the street over at the Gates Center on campus, available for you free, whether you have Comcast or not, because you can catch us live on YouTube. Jeff, the Mastodons lead 50-32 here over Manchester for Purdue Fort Wayne. It's the first home game of the season for Manchester, their first game period, although technically it's just an exhibition for them playing up in competition. Let's take a look back at what went down here in half number 1. The Mastodons shot nearly 50% from the field, while Manchester really reliant on the 3-ball.
That's one thing that the Mastodons got to watch out here for the second half is that 3-point shot. They got to defend it. They got to make sure they close out, get a hand up, and be aware of the skip passes to the weak side where they really got to close out hard and watch the baseline drive off of that pass as well.
Yeah, the Mastodons there in the locker room talked about defending the arc better, also having a better offensive process. Wound up with 9 turnovers in the first half. They had only 11 total at UNLV a couple nights ago.
That's a huge positive that they should be taking from that game, is the turnover part of that game coming into this game. 9, a little bit too much right here for the first half. One thing they got to look out for is Jared Andis from Manchester. 5 3-pointers here in the first half. They got to know where he's at on the floor and do a better job of defending him and take care of the basketball, especially on the break. We've seen how Purdue Fort Wayne's gotten into the lane, and they've gotten a little bit of trouble in the lane, whether it's been an errant pass, a charge, a travel we've seen. So take care of the ball once you get in the lane. Make the good decisions.
Look at Jared Godfrey on an individual side of things. Godfrey in the first half with 9 points, 2 of 5 from the floor, but 4 of 7 at the line. Mastodons also got 9 points out of Marcus DeBerry, 6 from Dylan Carl, 4 apiece for Brian Patrick, Deontay Billups, and Demir Black. Tion Rollins had 6 points with a couple of made threes. Matt Holba with 8. Cameron Benford played but did not score. And on the other side for Manchester, 5 3-pointers off the bench for Jared Andis, who will now get to start in this second half after he came off the bench in half number 1. His 15 points so far, a game high. And otherwise, for Manchester in the first half, they got 6 from Matthew Westman. And, Jeff, you got to figure we probably won't see C.J. Hampton in the second half. He left with a handful of minutes to go with a leg injury. And that's a tough blow because Hampton, arguably the best player on this Manchester team.
Exactly. Probably won't see him. He had that knee bandaged up a little bit earlier in the game, but he's out there right now, John.
That's a good sign then. Glad to see that. He'll be the one to inbound here to get the second half started.
And he doesn't even have his knee bandaged. He looks like he's ready to go, so that's a good thing. Like to see him see what he can do against the Mastodons here in the second half.
So Manchester is without Nate Carbaugh, a guy who figures to be in their regular rotation, a sophomore out of Northside High School here in Fort Wayne. The Spartans are hopeful that perhaps he'll be ready to go for their regular season debut on Tuesday next week at home against Oberlin. Quick start right there for Cortez Buckner.
Right there, that's what the coaching staff stressed at halftime. Get out on that arc and defend it.
First offensive possession of the second half now for the Mastodons. Backed away from Patrick into the arms of Ogunaki. Extra pass into the corner for Matthew Westman. Halfway down, but out. Dylan Carl.
Right there, there's Dylan running the court again. I like that. Jared gave him a little bit of time to get ahead of him. Beat his man down the court for the little lob pass and dunk. It's the second time we've seen that here tonight.
Godfrey contesting Ogunaki and a foul called.
That time Jared got caught standing flat-footed on the weak side, got behind the man, had no choice but to foul.
Abdul Ogunaki at the line for 2. One of only a couple of seniors in the lineup for Manchester. From Richton Park, Illinois. Began his collegiate career at Parkland Junior College in his home state. And with Nate Conley being in his first year and really thrust in at the very last moment, almost unbelievable. He wasn't hired until mid-October, the week that practice started. I think his second day on the job, they had homecoming at the school, and all of a sudden he's getting caught up to speed on how things are there in North Manchester. So he's relied upon a guy like Ogunaki, who's been a really strong vocal leader among the players.
Very difficult situation to get into. Like a day before practices start, you arrive on campus. You don't know the players. You don't know what their abilities is. You don't know what their mindset is. So you got to believe in your own instincts and put in your own philosophy and hope they buy into it quickly.
Marcus DeBerry scored on the opposite end, and now Manchester turns it over. And in case you're wondering, the previous coach for Manchester, Jared Good, Manchester alum who'd been around for a while, late in August decided to step away, and he's now coaching at the high school ranks down in Indianapolis, an assistant at Lawrence North.
I think, honestly, he's trying to set himself up so he can coach his son maybe in a year or two. His son is an 8th grader, still here in Fort Wayne. Pretty good player, and probably looking forward to maybe coaching him at the high school level.
A name to keep an eye on. Matt Holba running the point. It's Brian Patrick for 3. Dylan Carl cleans it up.
Right there's the strength and the size of the Mastodons prevailing on the inside for Dylan. And a poor showing right there on the defensive end by the Mastodons. Didn't stay in the ball. There's no effort defensively to pick up the ball.
Buckner knifed right through. Skip pass for Holba. He rips it, gets it back. Dylan Carl flex on him. Carl now with a dozen to lead the Dons. It's Keaton Hall. That's wet. It's 2.
Right there's that skip pass from side to side to the weak side, down a good enough closeout, and he was open there for the jump shot.
Jared Godfrey pulls up. Hall tries it again. That'll go to the Dons. Talk about the challenges that Nate Conley faces thrust right in at Manchester after he had been an assistant in Central Ohio at Ohio Wesleyan. Right now his wife and their young child still in the process of crossing the state border and moving here towards Northeast Indiana. For the time being, it works out that Nate again grew up here in Fort Wayne. He's got family to stay with. It's probably waking him up in the middle of the night or pretty darn early. There are several days a week that Manchester has to practice at 5:45 a.m. That's what happens when you only have one gym on campus, and you got the women's basketball team, women's volleyball, wrestling, men's basketball, and other sports all sharing it.
Very, very important that you get along with everybody on campus, because everybody's got to help everybody out on a school the size of Manchester. It's all for one and one for all.
Speaking of getting along, after Brian Patrick switched that jumper, did he high-five a fan?
I didn't see that.
Here's Jared Godfrey muscling it in.
Right here the last couple of minutes now, we're seeing it go up and down a little bit. Manchester starting to wear down, and Fort Wayne starting to get a lot of easy baskets. Here we go again with the break.
After the Whitney miss, it's Godfrey in the front court. Patrick, the Kansas State transfer. The leaner. Got to play in the NCAA tournament a couple years ago. Now a go-to guy for the Dons. Not there for Cortez Buckner. Foul called on the floor.
Matt Holba with the big push underneath the basket there. He shook his head. Yep, you caught me.
So it'll be Manchester ball when we come back. 5 minutes into the second half, and Purdue Fort Wayne running away up by 23 thanks to the power of Dylan Carl down low.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and round.
My philosophy has always been, what would I do if this was my mother?
You have the blessing from God to know that you're serving in a capacity that you truly love. This isn't a job to me.
They're coming to us at their most vulnerable. They're coming to us at a time when they're dealing with something totally unexpected.
And when you see people go through that every day, it kind of gives you motivation to be your best.
We have some of the best clinical staff that I have ever worked with in my 20-some years of healthcare.
Purdue Fort Wayne leading Manchester 64-41. These two schools only separated by about 40 miles. And well, speaking of travel, it's about to get a lot better for the Mastodons. The news over the summer, Purdue Fort Wayne next year will join the Horizon League. So this is the final season in the Summit. You got a glimpse at that map right there and the footprint of the Summit League. Much more manageable in the Midwest for the Dons.
A few common opponents in there that the Mastodons are familiar with. IUPUI down in Indianapolis and Oakland University up near Detroit, who used to be in the same conference.
Yeah, and consider this, when the Mastodons go to the Horizon League, the furthest conference rival for them will be Green Bay. It's about a 6-7 hour trip there. Right now in the Summit League, the closest team by bus is Western Illinois, which is 6-7 hours away.
That's going to be a huge difference travel-wise and in the bottom line, the budget.
Yeah, a lot of flights in the Summit League. Flights are really long bus rides. There's Abdul Ogunaki. Will hit the basket inside. And of course, Chef, last year, things really caught up with the Mastodons men's basketball team travel-wise. They had something like 7 flights delayed, including one situation in late December last year going out to North Dakota where they wound up having a game postponed because their flight was delayed due to inclement weather.
What I'll be interested in seeing is when they join this new league is how is the recruiting going to work? Will Coach Kaufman, recruit the Midwest a little bit heavier where these schools are located, or is he going to stay in the South and still bring kids in traditionally where he's recruited from before, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee area?
Yeah, the Mastodons have gotten talent from all over. Figure, though, for the Olympic sports, that's where it probably winds up making even more of a difference and making it easier to recruit players from the Midwest. Ogunaki at the line now. 4th foul in less than 6 minutes against Purdue Fort Wayne this half. A swish for Ogunaki. A couple years ago, really lost his sophomore season due to a broken wrist. And he's come back strong. Now a starting fixture. 1 out of 2. 20-point lead for the Dons. Tion Rollins to the cup.
There's Tion. I kind of like him. You and I kind of had a debate about that earlier tonight, but I kind of like him. He gets to the basket. I think he's fairly strong. I think he's a finisher.
A spark off the bench.
That's always a good thing.
Demir Black has it poked away into the hands of Andis. On the break. No good off the window, but Jalman Sullivan's fouled.
Tion, one of those recruits out of Florida, Tallahassee.
Redshirted last year.
See Marcus DeBerry getting back into the lineup. You say you worked for the Tin Caps this past season.
On the food and beverage side of things.
Food and beverage. I was wondering if he was part of the building and grounds where the Parkview Field was, again, rated in one of the top stadiums in the country.
Top single-A ballpark 10 years in a row. Great sports scene here in the Summit City. And right now it's basketball and hockey season. High school football in the state tournament too. Rollins.
That's my guy right there tonight.
Tion Rollins in his Dons debut at UNLV on Tuesday did not score. Just filling up the box score here tonight. Rollins, after that last one, now has 8. Check that, 10.
Interesting with the combination of Tion out there and Demir Black out there. Two newcomers to the program. Seeing what they can do in the backcourt adds a lot of quickness, but their decision making needs to improve, I believe. We saw Demir the first half do some good things, and he had a few turnovers on top of that as well. That's just going to come with experience, getting in time in games like this to get that experience so those decisions become second nature for him.
Tiger! 1 out of 2 for Cortez Buckner, a Lafayette, Indiana native. Buckner with the steal and the dunk. Cortez Buckner with the bunnies. Buckner's a really great story. Suffers from a skin condition in which patches of his skin lose pigment and turn white. Vitiligo. As a kid, he was picked on, but wound up winning a lot of kids over when he made him look bad on the basketball court. Tremendous heart and a lot of talent.
He can shoot the three, get to the basket, and he can get up in the air, and you just saw him put one down with both hands as a 6-footer.
Extra step for Demir Black. And Buckner, a guy who started his college career at Adrian in Michigan and transferred into Manchester last year. Now the starting point guard as a junior.
We've got about 12 minutes left here in the game, John. Maybe a point where things get a little bit sloppier as we head towards the finish here. I think it's important that Coach Kaufman, he reins in these guys, especially the new ones, that, hey, we got things to work on here. We got to get better. We got to work on the thing that he says, the process, that he cannot let these guys slip or wander. They got to keep their concentration no matter what the score is.
The process there set Matt Hulba up for a three to answer C.J. Hampton's. And now in front of the Manchester bench, a foul against Purdue Fort Wayne. That knocked C.J. Hampton to the ground. Remember, Hampton missed some time in the first half with an injury. So with that foul, it's a timeout on the floor. Purdue Fort Wayne leads Manchester by 19.
This little pumpkin's BB. She's my baby, and that's why I'm here. All right, looking for something pooch friendly? Yes, I want Pumpkin here to feel safe and snuggly when I want to feel rugged. Well, we got plenty of Jeeps, Durangos, plenty of room for the dog in the back. How many will fit comfortably? 7 or 8 adults. How many dogs? Oh, 11, 12. Shotgun, BB. 13.
Glenbrook Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. We've been fetching deals since 1979.
Drive a Scat Pack Dodge Charger over $10,000 off MSRP with Dodge Power Dollars at Glenbrook Dodge.
Oh, she got a little too excited. I'll get a towel.
My philosophy has always been, what would I do if this was my mother?
You have the blessing from God to know that you're serving in a capacity that you truly love. This isn't a job to me.
They're coming to us at their most vulnerable. They're coming to us at a time when they're dealing with something totally unexpected.
And when you see people go through that every day, it kind of gives you motivation to be your best.
We have some of the best clinical staff that I have ever worked with in my 20-some years of healthcare.
So it's a road game tonight for Manchester, but come March, the Spartans will be hosts here at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum with the Division III Final Four to be played here for a second year in a row.
It's a great venue. They had great crowds here last year for this tournament. Something Fort Wayne can be proud of is hosting a national championship at the NCAA level.
Yeah, and not only the Division III men's championship taking place here, but also at the Division I level on the women's side, the NCAA tournament will be in town at the Coliseum. for a regional. So that's a Sweet 16 and an Elite 8, and who knows what that could be, UConn or Notre Dame or Louisville.
That's going to bring some big names into the Fort Wayne area that weekend. It'll be interesting. I'm sure this will be a sold-out venue for that. They usually are. And like you said, wouldn't it be something if UConn was in the house?
Yeah, those games will be on ESPN. One difference with the D3 tournament this year compared to last year when it came for the first time. Last year it was the national semifinals and then the championship game, whereas this year it'll actually be the quarterfinals and then the semifinals, and something different that the championship game for Division 3 and Division 2 will be played in Atlanta, the 2020 host of the Final Four. Before the break, there was a foul against the Mastodons, and we didn't get word over here on our side of the table, but apparently it was deemed as a flagrant foul. And so 2 free throws good for Jalman Sullivan, and now the Spartans keep the ball as well. That foul was against Cameron Benford.
It was called a flagrant foul that he didn't mean.
Cameron's a big dude, strong dude. Is also as kind of a guy as you'll ever meet.
He's a 6'8", big body in there. I'd really like to see him progress this year, because once they get into Summit League play, they're going to need a big body from now and then. Dylan Carl's not going to be able to handle the inside duties all by himself. And so he's going to have to get a little more consistent, not foul as much. He has a tendency to get in foul trouble. And once he gets in foul trouble, he usually finds himself on the bench.
Threw that one opposite of the bench into the front row. It's funny, behind that front row, the former Mastodon star, Kaysen Harrell, is sitting in row 3. Maybe Cameron saw Kaysen, and those guys are friends, and he was just in automatic give it to Kaysen mode, and that was a pretty good mode to be in over the last few years. There's another one for the audience.
Who's sitting on this side?
Well, John Conchar and the Grizzlies have a game tonight, I believe, so he's not over there.
Dad just picked that one up.
Nate Conley says that a big influence on him besides his family was his head coach his senior year at Bishop Dwenger, Matt Kostoff, a local coaching legend. Fortunately, Coach Kostoff couldn't be here tonight. He's got a lot of family stuff going on this weekend. There's a wedding in the family, so he had to take a rain check tonight, but he'll certainly be seeing Nate in action coaching this Manchester team in North Manchester this season.
Matt, one of the, I think, premier coaches in the Fort Wayne area, Northeast Indiana. Been tenured there. He's been there many, many years now. Really enjoys it. His teams always are competitive, and I enjoy watching Matt's teams play.
Saints play just down the road from here.
Big sectional championship in football down there this weekend, Friday night.
Down to the final weeks of the high school football season before that culminates at Lucas Oil Stadium later this month. Girls high school basketball starts this week. There's the stroke for Matt Holba. 14 for the senior from Noblesville. Stop, 20-point lead again, and a giveaway.
Good defense that time by Marcus. Stayed in front of the ball. Created that turnover. It's that 6'5" frame on a 6-foot frame in the lane. You're not going to be able to do much with that.
Holba guarded tightly on the perimeter, so he brings it inside. And that's the first foul of the second half against Manchester. After Purdue Fort Wayne picked up the first 7 fouls in this stanza. So Holba, a fifth-year senior. At this point, he's a grad student. Earned his degree in finance. Not only intelligent on the court, but off it as well. And now working towards a master's in organizational leadership, and that pays dividends in his role on the team as a senior leader.
Started his career out east at Lehigh and came back home.
Shot clock down to 5. Des Moines Whitney, difficult shot, grazes the rim, and Godfrey pulls in the rebound. He's got 11 points, 7 boards, and 3 dimes. Carl was looking for his seam and winds up with Billups. Macedons are 7 of 19 from 3-point range. Manchester 10 for 33. I'll make it 34. Godfrey all the way. How about the body control there for the sophomore from Atlanta?
He's just nice and smooth. Which I said earlier tonight, effortlessly going to the basket, handles the ball. He's handling the ball a lot better than I thought he would at the point position.
Manchester wants to talk it over. A timeout with 8:37 to go, and the Macedons in control.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors meet.
At Diamond Residential Mortgage, we understand the importance of keeping pace with technology, and we offer a completely digital loan process to our customers who choose to take advantage of that option. But we also understand the magnitude of a home purchase, and one of our loan officers will work with you every step of the loan process to make sure all your questions are answered and the right type of loan is tailored to fit your needs. See Diamond Residential Mortgage.
Purdue Fort Wayne leads Manchester by 24 in the second half at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. This is a venue that once upon a time hosted an NBA All-Star game. It was home to an NBA team, and the Fort Wayne Pistons. Well, speaking of the NBA, John Conchar, the first Macedon to make it to the NBA.
Greatest player in Fort Wayne history, Purdue Fort Wayne history. And his dividends are paying off for him now at the professional level.
Two-way player for the Grizzlies. The two-way system in the NBA implemented a couple of years ago, so that means that Conchar can spend 45 days with the NBA team. Jared Godfrey with the steal and the jam.
Good anticipation there by Jared, stepping out in the passing lane. He saw the ball being rotated around and anticipated that pass.
Godfrey, a guy who kind of glides Conchar-esque. You don't want to say effortless, but he definitely is smooth and makes it look easy. By the way, Conchar has not yet appeared in a game for the Grizzlies. Marcus DeBerry leaves it short. But now, tomorrow night is the start of the NBA G League season. Fort Wayne Mad Ants will be here at home against the Lakeland Magic. And Conchar and the Memphis Hustle, they'll be at home tomorrow night against the Texas Legends. So you'd expect Conchar to be in the starting lineup there and making his pro debut. Dylan Carl doesn't settle for the three, and now it's Godfrey off the window.
That's just good team basketball there by Dylan, keeping the ball alive, Got a good shot, layup going to the basket.
It's a pretty mature play by Carl, huh?
Very mature, unselfish, great team player.
There's a three for Cortez Buckner. Deontay Billups in the corner. Jared Andis off the bench with 18 to lead all scorers, and he's done it all from deep. 6 for 12 from downtown.
That's pretty impressive. Coming off the bench and letting it go like that.
A night to remember for him in his Manchester debut. Only downside for him is this game doesn't count in the official stats for the Spartans, who don't get things going for real in D3 until next week. This one, though, counts for real for the Dons, and they're up by 20.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors meet.
At Diamond Residential Mortgage, we understand the importance of keeping pace with technology, and we offer a completely digital loan process to our customers who choose to take advantage of that option. But we also understand the magnitude of a home purchase, and one of our loan officers will work with you every step of the loan process to make sure all your questions are answered and the right type of loan is tailored to fit your needs. See Diamond Residential Mortgage.
Jared Godfrey and the Mastodons all over Manchester, 82-62 with 6:35 to go in the second half. Godfrey from Atlanta. That's where Don's head coach John Kaufman grew up, so he still has those connections down there in Georgia, not to mention Florida, like we've talked about tonight. And so between guys from the Southeast, guys from here in Indiana and the Midwest, John Kaufman, the winningest coach in Purdue Fort Wayne's Division I era.
I'll tell you one thing, that was a great pickup we got with Jared Godfrey. He's, I think, going to be a great player for the Mastodons the next 3 years. I really look forward to watching him play.
And there's a Floridian and Brian Patrick. He's out of Boyd Anderson High School. That's the same school that produced Frank Gaines, who, until John Conchar, was the all-time leading scorer here for the Mastodons.
Frank Gaines, he could really play too. Boy, he could shoot it, score it. He could get to the basket, shoot it from deep, left-handed. He was something special as well.
2013 alum who himself has played in the NBA G League and right now is playing overseas. Unfamiliar spot right now for Jared Andis at the foul line, and maybe should step back. He's got 6 threes tonight. Misses the front end of a 1-and-1. Extra pass into the corner. It's Godfrey. The assist for Deontay Billups, the freshman. But the Dons don't get back. An uncontested layup for Jalman Sullivan. And the Mastodons right now may be up comfortably by 23, but here's a teaching moment for John Kaufman, who calls the timeout.
He was not pleased with that effort getting back on defense. A nice ball movement and great shot by Jared in the corner, and everybody stood around and watched. Nobody ever sprinted back that time, and that got under Coach Kaufman's skin real quick.
Getting close to win number 100. And he's number 2 all-time at Purdue Fort Wayne, behind Mike Piazza, who coached during the Division II period for the Mastodons. And remember, Coach Kaufman had a few years here as an assistant under Tony Jasic, who then moved on to Jacksonville. And everyone on the screen there is so valuable in the success of the program right now. I think That's one thing about John is that he is quick to point out how Doug Knoll really, laid the foundation, and he had to go through some tough times. And in case Coach Knoll is tuned in down in Florida, hello to him and his family.
I think his son's here tonight, over here in the front row again. But
one of those key players in the early days of the D1 program for the Dons, and Coach Knoll was definitely up against it, having to play not in a conference, so many games on the road, those bye games just to really finance athletics D1.
I think back in those days, Coach Knoll had to play like 5 or 6 of those games every year, and boy, they got their pants whipped a few times in those games, but you got to give him credit. He kept a positive attitude through those early years, and look where they're at now.
And Dane Fife, the number 1 assistant for Tom Izzo. Michigan State starting the season number 1 in the country, although they won't be next week after they lost on Tuesday against Kentucky. Buckner splits the trap and lays it in. Cortez Buckner.
Nice left-hand lay in there by Cortez, splitting it. Took 2 hard dribbles and was able to get up in the air with a nice left-handed shot.
Buckner's got 13. Carl trying to show his post game. That's something that has evolved for him, but not on display there. Tyler Wilburn, a freshman from Muncie, off balance.
Dylan gets the ball in there, and he wants to make a post move. It's got to be 1 or 2 hard dribbles. He can't get in there and have 3, 4 soft dribbles. He's going to get that taken away every time. He's got to get in the mode, 1 hard dribble, pivot, and get to the basket.
Jared Godfrey was fouled on the floor. Hockey-style substitutions here for Manchester. And for Tion Rollins with the left hand, too high. CJ Hampton doubled. Fouled.
Good fire, nice job. Good fire.
It's against Marcus DeBerry. One and one for Hampton. Shot at 78% at the line last year.
Hey, White.
And he earns another.
White. Let's go execute.
Carl steps out.
A little too strong that time by Dylan.
Certainly has that shot as part of his game. He models himself these days after Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. Break in the action now, less than 4 minutes to go. Purdue Fort Wayne up by 18 in the home opener.
This is where ambition meets action. Where you can experience everything and become anything. So ask yourself, what are you going to be?
A business leader. An artist.
A scientist.
A difference maker.
A game changer.
This is an education with purpose. We are Purdue University, Fort Wayne.
Growing up in the Midwest, I learned a lot from my dad, like how to fix a bike and balance a budget. And when it comes to money, Dad always said, you need a partner you can trust. I want to teach my kids the same thing. That's why we're members of Midwest America. They're a local credit union with honest personal service and have all the tools my family needs, like checking accounts, mortgages and auto loans, and mobile banking to manage it all.
Midwest America Federal Credit Union, a local partner
you can trust.
Don the Mastodon ready to celebrate win number 1 of the season to match his uniform number. Purdue Fort Wayne up 18 on Manchester inside of 4 minutes to go at the Coliseum. With Jeff Parrish, I'm John Nolan. Thanks for joining us here on a Thursday night. By the way, I have to apologize. I misspoke before talking about how John Kaufman is number 2 all-time in program history in wins. Number 1 at the D1 level, but back in the D2 days, it was Andy Piazza. I grew up a New York Mets fan, so I subconsciously said Mike Piazza, the Hall of Fame catcher. Could be a couple more seasons before Coach Kaufman catches Andy. Tion Rollins, a shot fake, kick out. As Ryland Grundy is coming in the game for the first time. Sophomore from South Bend. Rollins. Back rim, no. Offensive board for Benford. Resets.
That's what Cameron needs to do. Get in there and offensive rebound. There's another one.
Battling. Cameron only knows one speed. It's all out. It's not necessarily an oil painting, but it can be effective.
No, he's not the most graceful player out there on the floor by any means, but he hustles, he works hard, he's determined.
That describes Grundy well, too. And there's Rollins in the corner for 3. Tion Rollins in his home debut in double figures tonight. It's 13 for the redshirt freshman from Tallahassee, including 3 of 6 from 3. Cortez Buckner wants 3. Give him 3.
It's pretty close to NBA three-pointer that time.
Benford for 3. Popped out. This place would have erupted had that one got in.
I think the bench would have gone crazy on that one.
Cam often provides the comedic relief for this team. Contested 3 for Matt Westman short. Inside of 2 minutes now. Timeout called as both teams will go deeper to the bench. And for the first time this year, Josh Nkumsa checks in. They call him Tank. Number 31, you can see why he has that nickname.
It's about 6'7" and what, 260?
Listed at 265. Played in 5 games last year, but then wound up redshirting due to a foot injury. And that is sidelined him through the summer, even into the fall. Did not go on Tuesday night.
You see he's got a little bit of looks like a knee brace or something there on his left leg as well.
Native of Ontario, Canada. It's Tank inside, going to work. Rollins, another 3. Buckner up ahead. The 3 is true for Jalman Sullivan. Makes it a 15-point game. And now Nate Conley has really got to be proud of the way that his team has battled and executed tonight, too. He'll give some other guys the experience here of playing at the Coliseum. Again, a site that has hosted an NBA All-Star game. It's a big-time atmosphere, especially for a Division III school, and one of the goals and objectives for Coach Conley tonight was to make sure not only that his team played hard and tried to play as well as they could, but just enjoy this experience, soak it in.
You know, back in the day, they played a lot of high school games here in the Coliseum. Used to have their the famous SAC tournament was here, and they used to, hold big-time important games that were coming up in the schedule as well.
Well, Nate himself was at Snyder back in the mid-2000s. When Snyder was hosting Lawrence North, which at the time featured Greg Oden and Mike Conley. And that was a game that, due to the interest and demand from fans, was moved here to the Coliseum to accommodate the crowd. That was when Nate was teammates with Don's assistant coach, Ryan Sims. Ryan's dad, Ray, the head coach for the Panthers then.
You go a little bit back further than that. The Northrop Bruins were a state power along with the Marion Giants. They had to move the game to the Coliseum here where they had over 9,000 spectators just for one single game.
How about that? Lane Reed from Leo, out of Leo High School with the basket. And that trims it to a 13-point game. 5-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Macedons also have Matt Havey in the game now. It's Havey around the screen. Inside, Tank is fouled.
Good move that time by Josh. You see how quick he caught the ball? He knew what he was going to do with it. Good post move, drop step, went to the basket with his left hand and got fouled.
And Kumsa, just another example of the basketball talent coming out of the Toronto area these days. There had a good look at Havey from Lansing, city that's produced the likes of Magic Johnson. But Josh, buddies with R.J. Barrett, the star at Duke last year, now is with the Knicks. One out of two, 10 seconds to go. Three ball, good. Naz Mitchell. Well, Manchester can leave with their heads held high. The D3 Spartans don't come away with a win, but they pick up some momentum going into their regular season, as tonight was an exhibition. But this one counts for the Mastodons as Purdue Fort Wayne defeats Manchester 91-80.
Well, for Manchester, first of all, they were picked 10th in the Heartland Conference. I'm not sure about that. I think that probably got that way because they may not have had a coach at the time when they, voted on the preseason poll. But if they can go like this into their conference and shoot the ball like this, they're going to get one of their main players back most likely, and Carbaugh. They're going to be competitive, I think. And that number 10 seeding in their conference, I think, is a little bit misleading right now.
Yeah, Nate Conley's done this with Manchester in only a few weeks. What's going to happen when he has a few months to work with his team? We'll take a timeout right now. When we come back, our final thoughts, some highlights, and our Player of the Game award. All that and more on the other side.
Hot.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and round.
The Acme Bar and Grill, where neighbors meet. A Fort Wayne tradition since 1941. We feature nightly dinner specials along with our iconic pizza, wings, and pork tenderloins, and barbecue in our family-friendly atmosphere with a retro flair. Additionally, we offer a full bar with 26 beers on tap from various Midwest breweries. We also have an area perfect for private events such as meetings, reunions, and banquets that holds up to 50 people. The Acme Bar and Grill, located in the heart of East State Village, where neighbors meet.
At Diamond Residential Mortgage, we understand the importance of keeping pace with technology, and we offer a completely digital loan process to our customers who choose to take advantage of that option. But we also understand the magnitude of a home purchase, and one of our loan officers will work with you every step of the loan process to make sure all your questions are answered and the right type of loan is tailored to fit your needs. See Diamond Residential Mortgage.
Growing up in the Midwest, I learned a lot from my dad, like how to fix a bike and balance a budget. And when it comes to money, Dad always said, you need a partner you can trust. I want to teach my kids the same thing. That's why we're members of Midwest America. They're a local credit union with honest personal service and have all the tools my family needs, like checking accounts, mortgages and auto loans, and mobile banking to manage it all.
Midwest America Federal Credit Union, a local partner you can trust.
With Jeff Parrish, John Nolan back inside the Coliseum to wrap up a 91-80 Purdue-Fort Wayne win over Manchester. And Jeff, tonight the Mastodons led by number 1, Jared Godfrey, a game-high 20 points. Although, when you talk about Godfrey, it's really the all-around game.
All-around game. He can bring the ball up the court. He distributes it. He gets to the basket. He can pull up and shoot the jumper. And he can defend on the perimeter. He does a good job of staying in front of his man. But they gave up 80 points. I'm sure Coach Kaufman is not happy with that. But there you see Jared getting to the basket right there and finishing. He can take the hit, bringing the ball up again, all the way to the basket. Extremely, extremely smooth with the basketball.
Our player of the game brought to you by Connor's Kitchen. Stop in after the game downtown and try one of Connor's delicious appetizers. Jared Godfrey, 20 points, not to mention 8 rebounds, also 4 assists and only 1 turnover. The sophomore from Atlanta stepping his game up in season number 2 after he had a career-high 24 in the opener at UNLV. We'll see if he can make it 3 strong outings in a row to begin this 2019-20 season. The Mastodons back in action on Sunday on the road. They go to Southeast Missouri for a game Sunday evening. Back here at the Coliseum next week against a MAC opponent in Miami.
Big road game right here. Keep the consistency going. That's what one of the main things Coach Kaufman's looking for is consistency. Southeast Missouri State, maybe a little weaker in the Ohio Valley Conference. Last year only finished with 10 wins. So a very winnable game on the road for the Mastodons coming up.
They were really tough, though, against Vanderbilt, an SEC team on the road last night. That was a tie game at halftime before Vanderbilt pulled away in the second half. Well, that does it for us here tonight. The Mastodons win their home opener 91-80 over the Manchester Spartans. Big thanks to everyone behind the scenes on our broadcast crew tonight in the truck. Doug Ferguson and company. Tim Badgema at the controls as well. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes. For my broadcast partner, Jeff Parrish, this is John Nolan saying thanks and so long. And a reminder that this copyrighted broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Mastodon Sports Properties, a property of Learfield IMG College, under the broadcasting rights granted by Purdue University, Fort Wayne. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Mastodon Sports Properties. Our announcers are employed by Mastodon Sports Properties with the approval of Purdue, Fort Wayne Athletics. Mastodon Sports Properties General Manager is Casey Taxi. This is Mastodon Basketball from Learfield IMG College.
This has been a presentation of Learfield IMG College.